Okay, so for this one, I'm going to first work on the surfaces. So for that, I'm going to go to a conceptual mass family, and I'm going to create these two surfaces first. So let's create 3 levels, and I'm going to place a section curve on all of these levels, and let's create floor plans from these two. And I'm going to start on level 1 and just create a reference plane. Let's say our facade is going to be 100 feet. So that's the section for the surface in the back, and then I'm going to make one in the front. So another reference line in front of it, and this one is going to be, let's say, something like this on the ground. Maybe this is a bit too much. Let's lower it there a little bit. So maybe it's something like this. Okay. So similar thing on level 2. I could simply select these two without the construction plane, and then copy them to my clipboard, and then paste them to level 2 and level 3. And now if I go to 3D view, those sections will be created. So maybe I want to change level 2 sections only. So I go back to level 2, and maybe this one is a bit more different. Maybe it extrudes here a little bit more. Okay, let's go to level 3 and give some movement to this guy as well. So now I have these 3 are going to control the first surface, and these 3 are going to control the surface in the back. Okay? And then I'm going to work on an adaptive component that is between those two. So one important thing is to create an equal subdivision. So that for that one you would need to do it in the elevation view. So probably south elevation will be a good choice. So all I need to do is create an array of section planes, and let's start doing them. I'm just going to place one here, and then using the control key I'm just going to offset it for now. Let's create a bunch of them and then make them like that. And what you could do is create an annotation if you want them to be equal. Oops. And I want to set them to be equal. You can hide this or delete it. We are not going to use it. So I'm just creating some planes so that I could calculate the intersection of them to these surfaces. Okay? So same thing goes for the horizontal divisions. So let's create some more construction planes. So this guy is here. Let's try to select it. Let's create some vertically. Okay, and then let's create a vertical alignment this time. But you should select the construction planes, not the level lines, because that will give you an error. And we can equalize it as well. Now that this is set up, all I need to do is select the surfaces and then intersect them with these planes. So I select the surface in the front and go to divide surface, and just hide the U and V grids, and then go to intersect tool, intersects, and now I have to select the grid lines that I want to intersect it with. Just the grid lines, okay? And when I select them, after the selection is done, you'll just hit finish, and it will create that grid. This is important because the surface is undulated. So if the geometries don't align up, it might create some problems in 3D. So it's better to do it this way. And the same thing I need to do for the one in the back. So let's look at it in 3D. Right now I've created a subdivision for the one in front, and I need to do the same thing for this guy. So I select the surface in the back, do the same thing, hit divide surface, but just hide the U and V grids, and go to intersect tool, and then select. I think when you switch views it kind of goes away. So what I will do is temporarily hide this surface, and then now I can work in the surface for the surface in the back. So I'll select, I think I have to do it again for this view. So let's select this one that I've already subdivided, and hide it. And now this is the one in the back. Let's go to intersects. And I'm going to select these, and then these, and get rid of the floor slabs, because they're also construction planes. What you want is just to use this grid lines. And then intersect them. Now the surface in the back is done. So let's bring our front element too. Now basically I'm done with these construction planes, and the surfaces are ready. So I can go ahead and work on my component. Let me think though if this is going to work. So the panels are going to be a bit big because I didn't create enough. Let me see. Yeah, but I've only created enough space for I think 6, but I think it would still work. Let's go ahead and, I don't want to redo it, but you'll get the idea. Let's go new, family, and generic model adaptive. So for this one, I'm going to create 2 levels, and first I'm going to work on this level at the bottom, and just create a simple rectangle reference line. And actually before that, let's go to the reference level. Let me see. No. I want something with adaptive points. So maybe we could just place adaptive points first. And they could be anywhere, it doesn't matter. So let's say these are the adaptive points on the floor. And I need another set in between them. So in 3D it looks like this. And I need to create a copy of these up, so something like this. Oops, sorry. Let me go to an elevation view. I'll select these 2 and these 2. Just move them up. I guess everybody's like, you guys see it? So all I need to do is now create them with reference lines. And since they're adaptive points, the geometry will be controlled by these points. So I don't have to set work planes, I don't have to set dimensions, anything. So it's just a flexible model. So I'll go to reference line, and enable 3D snapping. And I'll first create this rectangle here, and I need one at the bottom, so let's set the work plane here and then go to reference line again, and this time create this one, and finally this one for the hole. Okay, now all I need to do is create a solid and then a void within it so that there's a hole. But before doing that, maybe it's wise to select these points and make them adaptive, and make sure that the order that you select them is important, and that's the order you should start placing them. So right now I selected the ones that are going to be on the surface that is in the back. So if I click on Make Adaptive, Revit will give them numbers in the order that it wants them to be created. And the same thing goes for these. So if I want to place these afterwards, I could select them in a group and then make them adaptive again. And then finally I need to make these guys adaptive. Make adaptive. Now you can see that I have 12 points that I need to place on the model. And let's create our geometry. So I selected 2 reference lines, go to create form, so that's my solid, and I'll use this reference line and the one in the middle to create a void form, so that my panels are going to look like this. But the good thing is, if I move any of these, the model will adjust. So it's kind of a nice distortable model. That's why you don't have to work with any construction planes or anything. It's just, you just need 12 points to generate this model. So I'll just save this one and call it adaptive hollow, and let's bring it into our massing family. I think it's family 4, and it already comes in ready, but before I do that, I need to select these surfaces and again activate the nodes. Let's select the one in the back and activate the nodes again. And if you remember the order, I need to click on the lines in the back first, and then click on the ones that are up front, and then place the in-between points. Let's go to create component, and it will also preview you how it's going to place it. So I start by placing these points, and you have to go in the order that you click on them. I misclicked, so I'll just delete this one. Click on again, start here, go down, and then I need to do the front surface, but let me see, it's kind of giving me an error. Let me see how we created those points. Let's look at the numbers. So I go, for the first surface I go clockwise, 1, 2, 3, 4. The second surface 5, 6, 7, 12, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's also clockwise, and this is also clockwise, so it should be fine. I'm going through the tabs. Okay, let's try it again. Component. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, and this will be 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? Now, similar to the others, I'm sorry I don't have enough grid lines, but I can do the same population using repeat, and it will do it as long as there's another grid line to generate another one. But as you can see, it nicely follows the surface. And I could have made it more complex, but you can see that I have more points here, but I didn't use them because I need points for the inner hull. So if you want it to be more precise, or if you want it to be more curvilinear, you could create as many control points as you want, but this is kind of a simple way of creating it. I can also, since we are working with adaptive components, I'm going to show you one last thing that you could do with this one. So if you remember the order I created it, so I'll go back to the component. So I start from the first 4 in clockwise order and place the outer surface in the clockwise order as well. And for the inner one, I'm going to skip one. So rather than starting here, I'm going to start here and then go clockwise again. And this will create this time a distorted form because it only takes points. Okay? So now I can select it and then call repeat again, and it will create that. Okay? And you can bring this into your project as long as you know the dimensions of it.